Well, the Africa Hospitality Investment Forum is really a meeting place that brings together the investors, the owners, the developers, the financiers, and the operators and the advisory firms to really come together and discuss business deals and transactions for the continent. I suppose the unique opportunity is that because Africa is such a huge continent, that it's almost impossible for this group of people to come together in any other way. So, if you want to find out more about the industry or meet the who's who is in the industry, this is actually the only opportunity in the annual calendar to do so. Well, networking is at the heart of all our our event portfolio. In fact, the the idea is that we're bringing the right people together to get the right things done, and we're very lucky with the AHIF event that actually around about 50% of the audience is local to Africa, and around 50 are the international audience that are looking for business partners on the continent. So this is a really good mix of those on the ground and those trying to break into it. So in some respects, everything we do is focused on trying to get those two markets to integrate and to meet. We do a number of things directly to help that. We have a wonderful application where you can dig into the delegate list and make meetings before the event even happens. We run a really fun networking express where people sit down for a few minutes and meet a whole host of people one after the other in a really fast paced hour. But in reality, the whole event is based around our sponsors to network at their stands and to meet each other both in a formal environment, but also in some wonderful receptions as well, some informal stuff, and it's the place for networking and meeting. Well, obviously, there's a lot of deals going on site where, with the 500, 600 people, you just don't really have that much insight. But the good news is that we do a report, or at least JLL do an independent report post the event for us and try to gather that information. Their economic report last year, when we were hosting the event in Kenya, reported that there was almost $300 million dollars worth of pipeline created at the event itself, which equated to around about 5 million per person. Now, of course, the relationships that we build are burgeoning. They're certainly developing. So, of course, it's not just the immediate; it's the long term. But if there's one example that I can draw to mind directly, Best Western Hotels (BWH) were a new sponsor of ours last year. The guys had a wonderful time and reported back very quickly that they got a new customer directly from the event last year, which was a great success. Well, a lot of the topics year on year are there to try to encourage new developers and new participants into the sector. So there's a lot of looking at what the whole uh, market looks like and the opportunities within that. But I do think that globally, there's a real interest now in the resort sector and also alternative real estate asset classes like branded residencies. And they'll make up a big part of the discussions, no doubt, during the day. Aside from that, there's always a good look at conservation and balancing tourism with development and nature, and also a look at how to empower women in the industry, as well as the challenges that an investor might face when developing a project, from gaining finance through to actually developing a project off the ground. So it's pretty comprehensive, but definitely I think the theme going into this year, especially being the first time in hosted in a SADC country, is what are the sort of opportunities around these alternative products. Well, I'm really proud of what AHIF actually achieves for the continent. Let's face it, getting around the continent is not an easy thing to do, and therefore, the time it takes for any one deal to happen without our event would be a hugely more time consuming and, if not, impossible. So I think AHIF shapes the hospitality industry in Africa, and I hope that it continues to form the bonds that allow the industry to grow and to take opportunities as they're out there. So yeah, I suppose AHIF is the contributor to the industry, and I hope it continues to be.